All right, hang on just a second. If you are watching, which I doubt if anyone is, we're going to be starting in just a second. You can see I got the airbrush here, I got the parts, tools. So give me a second to just double check a few more things. Let's see what we got going on here. All right, OBS says I am going. So I'm going to do a quick adjustment on my camera. Let's brighten it up a little bit. All right, so seriously doubt anyone's watching this, but I am going to record it. And actually, let me start recording right now. All right, so we're going to start up this live stream. So what we're doing today is we're going to be taking apart this Paasche Talon. This is the TG model. This is my first airbrush. This is probably about 9 years old. Worked pretty well. There's a few features that I really like. The huge cup, really large needle. The nozzle inside there you'll see is large, easy to work with. This one, I accidentally left it in some cleaning solution for too long, and the internal parts I think got a bit gummed up. It's kind of been sitting around for a while. I keep meaning to take it apart, rebuild it so I can use it for priming, mainly because this is available. This is an alternative nozzle head, which is a fan head. So it's going to give me a nice wide spray as opposed to a circular cone when I'm spraying with the nozzle. I have some vehicles, some terrain I'm going to be priming up, and that's where I want it. This is going to come into play. So anyway, all right, I think we'll just get right into it. What I have here, this is a standard kit. We're going with the size 3, which is the largest. This comes with a tip, needle, and the air cap. And then this is a repair kit for all the internal parts. So we're going to do some replacements here. So first thing we're going to do is break this down. Obviously the back comes off. I'm going to set that aside. We're going to be keeping that. But a lot of these other parts are going to get replaced. I'm going to keep them just in case I lose them. That was the needle chuck. Remove the needle chuck. Out comes the needle. Needle looks kind of hard to see, but needle's in pretty good shape. Tip's good, so I'm going to save this. When I put this thing away, I was having problems with the airbrush. I ended up buying a replacement one because I know I replaced the needle and tip. What didn't work turned out it was something completely different. It had to do with the quick disconnect was giving me some problems. I found that out after I bought a Badger Patriot 105, which is what I've been primarily using. So there's the button, just slides right out. So one thing that's really nice about the Paasche system, if you can kind of see, there are 3 lines there. This matches up with 3 lines. Let's see if I can catch that. There's 3 lines in the back of the needle, so it makes it a lot easier to match these things up. Badger I know uses colors, little colored dots on the back, and these tips, you have no idea. As far as I can tell, there's no actual marking. There should be a little wrench to take this off, which is one of the annoying parts of this, is that I actually have to use at least one tool for a standard breakdown. So just loosen that up, take off the tip, and again, might be hard to see, but there are 3 little lines there that, so I know this is a size 3 tip. So, O-ring, we're leaving that on. This is an extra piece. This is my quick disconnect. Definitely need to keep that. And the first, to get at the internal components, this has to come off. Now, this is a 1/8 Allen. This is where things get scary because there's a lot of small little mysterious parts. And normally when you're cleaning your airbrush, you won't have to get to this point. But like I said, I left mine in some cleaning solution and I think it gummed up stuff inside here. So right now we have a little push pin. Probably hard to see, but that tip is inside there. So we can get this to come out. Gonna use the back of my needle, gonna push. And there she goes. And we've got a tiny little spring. And this. Yeah, it looks like there's probably some crud inside there. No, I probably could have just taken this apart and cleaned it, but I wanted to take the opportunity to just totally refurbish this thing. So, now the last part I'm debating about is inside of the body, and I don't think it'd be any way I can see it. There is a Teflon washer and a little cap. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get at. I do have replacement parts. I have a replacement back cap and a replacement Teflon. So we'll give it a shot. I'll see if I can get her out of there. It is a tiny little screwdriver. Probably, I wish I had a little bit narrower screwdriver for this, but I think I got it. There we go. Kind of unscrews. Let's see if I can get her. Oh, there it is. There's a little cap on the back. I'll set that in the tray. Let's see if we can get the Teflon out. And there it is. There's the Teflon. So this Teflon, needle goes in, and this gives you, this keeps paint from backing up into the airbrush. Now this is positioned back here. So paint comes down, air goes forward through one channel. Venturi action draws that paint along the needle and out of the brush. So we're going to set that aside, and fingers crossed if I can get that back in, get the new one in there. So we're going to go ahead and let's pull this open. Tiny little washer. I'm not sure what that, there is a O-ring there. So give me a second, I'm going to grab some oil real quick. Just so that I'm going to oil these parts up as I put them back in. Just a second. All right, so we've got some synthetic oil here. I think this is just PTFE. Yep. All right. So you can see I got a lot of I've got a lot of corrosion on here. This is from soaking in, I think I was using Windex or Simple Green. It kind of tarnished up the brass, anywhere the brass was exposed. It looks like some of these parts are now chrome plated, where I previously just had brass. I think this is some new designs. I noticed this cap is a slightly different design. Mine has this 3-petaled version. This one has the round cap. I kind of always wanted a round cap, but now I got one. So I want to set aside pieces. Oh, I'm worried about this spring. All right, so now the tricky part, how to get this all back together. So trying to think this. Ooh, where did it go? There it is, the new Teflon. Interestingly, get that in. There we go. Pop that together as one piece. All right. So what we're going to do, in order to line this up, I'm going to put it on the needle. And we're going to slide her in there. So hopefully that will seat down inside there. All right. Oh. There we go. That went a lot easier than I thought. Oh. Got that nice and tight. Oh, let's make sure we are still sliding through. Oh yeah. And it kind of compressed it down a little bit, and I can feel it kind of friction on there. So it actually definitely is a better seal than the old one. I didn't really have problems with it, but it's nice to know I got a new one. So that I was worried was going to be the trickiest part of this. We're going to do the bottom first. And again, we're going to look at this thing. We got a new O-ring here. New O-ring and needle. Now this old one was brass. Pure brass. This looks like it's now chrome fitted. So if I remember right, we had went like this, spring. So this O-ring is going to slide up through the bottom. We got this, not this piece with the O-ring. We'll slide that in. Should fit nice and easy. Fits up in there. And let's see if we get the light right. You can see it. It's down in the bottom there. There it is. You can kind of see that pin is coming up. The trigger presses that down, which allows air to go through this valve. So we're going to put that spring in place. Actually, before I do that, I'm actually going to pop that back out just for a second, because I want to make sure there's some oil in there. Just a little bit of oil. Now we'll put it back in. That little tiny little spring that you definitely do not want to lose. I do have a replacement there. And we have this cap. Let's make sure we got a little bit of oil on that. So that is going to wear. And this is the, so air goes in here, comes out through these 3 vents. So I'm just going to put a little bit of oil on these threads. Give me a, oh, right. Just gonna, there's a tiny little, see the indent on the bottom of the trigger? That's going to fit on that, the knob there. Make sure you got spring action. Yep. All right. Set that aside for a second. Now we got to put this together. Big spring in here. And this fits inside. Now the smaller tab is going to be upright. And again, kind of forgot to do it, but I'm going to put a little bit of oil on this because I want everything nice and smooth. I want to make sure there's some oil here. So we're going to take it, small tab up. What we're trying to do is feed it through there so that that tab is out. And it's kind of spring loaded forward. Doesn't have to, you can thread this in. This allows you to tension how much that spring pressure is for your trigger. I usually tighten it most of the way down. But I want to make sure I got a little bit of that tab up and down. There we go. If I can get a hold of it. And loosen her up. The key is, the next step, now we're going to put the new chuck. Should be good. Let's see if I can get this. Nope, now I did it. Oh, I might have to start this over. There we go. We got the tab up and sorry. So I'm going to hold it back while I screw this in. Usually you can kind of grab a hold of it. It kind of slides out of place sometimes. So I'm going to hold it back. I'm going to take the new trigger and make sure you got the two. There's a flat side and a rounded side. Obviously the needle has to go through this thing, so it needs to be lined in there like that. There's a, like I said, you'll notice there's a rounded side and a flat. The flat goes to the back. Now it's going to line up right on that little button that was in there again, the indent into that button, and boom. Tighten her up. And we can see. Now be careful, there's nothing holding this other than a slight amount of friction. till we get the needle in, this thing can just pop out, so it can slide out. I want to make sure I get a little bit of oil on this thing, and particularly on that back. So, all right, looks like we're good. Now, next step is the new cap. So we're going to put the new tip in there. We're going to make sure we keep these all separate. Here's my new needle, new tip, nice brand new one. You can see there's the 3 lines on there. So I know this is a 3. Now, normally I would use a little bit of beeswax here, and I don't see my beeswax anywhere. But sometimes you get a little leakage through this thread, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. Again, I'm just going to put a little oil on there. Thread her in by hand. There should be a wrench that comes with this, with the airbrush. I'm not sure mine is, or if I did get one. I just use a little pair of pliers and just give it a little tweak. All right, so that's that. Now, next step would be to throw on the fan cap. We're going to hold off on that for now. So you're going to use either your standard cap. In my case, I'm going to use this fan cap. But the next step, so I'm trying to figure out what this tiny washer is. I suspect I lost it, and I'm wondering if this little O-ring is actually supposed to be this one. So we're going to replace that. And again, we're going to put a little oil on there, make sure everything's in place. Let's see if that threads down. Be very careful, do not damage this tip. Yeah. I think this was I think I lost that O-ring, and I have this older O-ring, came out of an O-ring kit, and this actually seems to fit pretty good. Now, I don't know if you can see it, but that tip is sticking out just a little bit past that. Once the needle goes in, it will come out and seal that up. So we're going to hold off. Needle's going to be the last thing we do. So far, we have replaced everything except for this cap. Now this is new territory. I've never used the fan cap. I'm not 100% sure how this threads on. Look at this. Okay, I see. So there's 2 little air channels inside here, and they correspond with 2 little channels here. So thread this down. Interesting. Let's see if I can get that lined up pretty close. This is a really important part. Make sure when you're doing this, if you have a chance, put a little bit of oil on that needle. Just a little coating. Now it's really important, make sure this trigger is seated before you insert this needle. If this is out of alignment, what happens is that needle tip bangs into this thing and you end up damaging that needle. And that, it doesn't take a lot of damage, and suddenly your airbrush is not. We're stuck. or loosen this up all the way. Be careful to slide that. There we go. All right, I feel it. I'm hitting the Teflon, and there's the needle at the end. Tighten up that chuck. See, the needle is now. I'm going to pull the trigger. See the needle back. So I'm going to put on this quick disconnect again. Now, see if this works. So I'm gonna mute my microphone real quick because I'm gonna kick on my airbrush. This will take just a second. I don't want to deafen anybody here. All right, now, got a little bit of air in the compressor. Air's coming out. Perfect. So let me just take a second. I'm going to put this all away. Now I'm going to make sure I'm going to save this old needle, the new fan cap, and that older tip. Because I suspect that the old tip and needle are perfectly fine. I think the problem I had was twofold. I had an O-ring go in an O-ring that swelled up like a donut for some reason in my quick disconnect, which was causing airflow issues. Let's see. All right. A little bit of water. Let's see if I spray anything. Well, it's interesting. Hard to tell. It is completely 90 degrees of what I thought it would be. No. So I have the nozzle, I have it set like this. I assume that air, it would be coming out flat like this. It's not. It's going like this. All right. So I'm going to loosen this up, turn that 90 degrees. Tighten her back up. So this is just water, so I'm going to mute again. Just a second. All right, get a little bit more air in there. All right, everything seems to be working. So, that's how you rebuild a Paasche Talon TG and install the fan head. I might be wrong in terms of that. I'm not spraying paint, but it is adjustable. Loosen up the cap, turn it to whatever angle you want. So, and it is spraying out. So, anyway, if you have any questions, go ahead and hit me up in the comments. I'm going to repost this later. And if you want to see more airbrushing or modeling tips, go ahead and hit subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one.